Coach?
Coach Gaines!
Oh, Mia! Sorry, I was just working on my power to mass ratio. Got a big bike race coming up, so I'm trying to shed a couple extra pounds.
See what I'm talking about? Anyone can be at risk.
At risk?
Are you aware that you're engaging in behavior that puts you at risk for Red S?
I'm sorry. Have we met?
Sorry, Coach. She insisted we come talk to you right away. She's very persistent.
Are you aware of relative energy deficiency in sport?
Are you talking about the female athlete triad? Yeah, we passed around a pamphlet about it last season. But what's that got to do with me? I'm not a young female athlete.
Several things. Where to start? Okay, first of all, Red S is a more comprehensive definition of the triad. And B, it's a misconception that it just affects the young females. But we'll circle back to that later because first, I want to address your power to weight ratio concern.
What? The lighter you are, the faster you move, right? That's just physics.
Actually, studies have shown that becoming lighter by energy restriction decreases athletic performance. With that mindset, young athletes feel pressure to conform to an ideal physique in dangerous and unhealthy ways.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. All my athletes pass their yearly health screening.
Coach, you seem very open-minded.
Well,
You seem like the kind of coach that young athletes look up to and take to heart the things that you say and do.
At least I hope that's true.
You are in a unique position with a tremendous amount of influence over the athletes and the culture of your department. Have you ever had a conversation with them about dieting or reducing body fat to achieve an ideal physique?
Well, sure. I mean, with different sports, you have different standards. And everyone is always talking about weight. Bulking up, slimming down, cutting weight. That's just what comes with the territory.
Successful athletes can be all different shapes and sizes. Such laser focus on diet and exercise puts them at a high risk for Red S and eating disorders. Some have no idea how much a hardworking athlete should be eating in the first place.
Is that really happening in our department, Mia?
I mean, I didn't think it was such a big deal at first, but now I'm starting to realize a few of us might be headed for trouble.
Unfortunately, it is very common among young athletes. But that's why I'm here. The first step is to identify who is at risk.
Okay, game on.
We've got individual factors. For example, a drive for high achievement or perfectionism, which is pretty common among athletes.
Tell me about it. I'm sure lucky to have such hardworking, motivated kids. Like Mia. See how fit she is?
I'm going to have to go ahead and call a timeout here. Yet another misconception is that weight gain is always a result of overeating, a lack of commitment, or not enough exercise. Body composition is determined more by genetics, hormones, neurotransmitters, emotional stress, and even your environment.
Whoa, okay, slow down. It sounds like there are a lot of things that affect body size that are out of anyone's control.
Exactly! Also, I should point out that athletes of any size can be at risk for Red S. The environment and the culture of the program is another factor. There can be a lot of pressure from the athletic community to conform to an ideal physique or improve performance, especially if coaches, trainers, or fellow athletes talk about reducing body fat or looking a certain way. Now let's move on to genetic factors. Athletes who have a family member with a history of an eating disorder are more likely to develop disordered eating themselves.
Boy, this is a lot to process. So how do I know what to look out for?
Well, we do know that athletes in weight-sensitive sports are at higher risk. Let's go to tape. Let's take Hannah here, for example. She's one of your track stars.
Hannah? If her performance is any indication, she's in perfect health.
And that is yet another myth, because energy deficiency starts happening way before you'll see any change in performance. Running is a gravitational sport where higher body weight is thought to impair performance. So, Hannah feels that cultural pressure to be thinner in order to be faster. Cycling and cross-country skiing are also in this high-risk category. Not to get too personal here, but she hasn't had a regular period in about 2 years. She's under the impression that's normal for athletes.
Oh, I know that's not normal.
It is not. Let's move on to Vanessa.
She's on our gymnastics team. Very strong.
Gymnastics is the type of sport that is partially judged for aesthetics. And this high achiever hungers for that perfect score. She's been training and competing since she was young, and all she wants to do is please her coaches and her parents. Vanessa believes if she just works hard enough, she will have that perfect body type to achieve that perfect score. Other aesthetic sports like dancing, cheerleading, figure skating, and diving, they're also at high risk.
She's always telling me she's too fat for gymnastics.
Not Vanessa. She's such a talented, strong competitor just the way she is.
It's heartbreaking when you realize there's not only physical, but mental consequences too. Okay, let's switch gears for this next one. Remember, Red S doesn't just affect girls. I believe you know AJ. He's on your wrestling team. Staying in that 112-pound weight class is very important to him. He has a genetic risk factor. His mother battles with an eating disorder. And like I said, boys can also be at risk, but since they have no periods to miss, it can be harder to detect.
Now that you mention it, he's been out a lot this season with several injuries.
But not just with injuries. He's also had frequent illnesses, abdominal pain, and just general fatigue.
He's been pretty distant lately. Doesn't eat lunch with me anymore. We thought he had mono, but I didn't get sick, so...
I had no idea.
There are some things coaches can be clueless about, but signs of disordered eating isn't one of them. It can be tough, though. A lot of these symptoms are subtle or kept private, but talking about feeling fat, not eating in front of others, being preoccupied with food and exercising more than expected can be indicators of a problem. If it gets severe enough, you may notice frequent bathroom breaks, dental problems, even sores on the knuckles. Those can be signs of using laxatives or vomiting to lose weight.
I really gotta talk to AJ.
You're on the right track, Mia. It's not just on coaches, athletic trainers, or parents. Friends also need to be vigilant. But coach, you and the athletic trainers do have a huge influence over your athletes. What you say carries a lot of weight with them.
You're right. We need to have a serious conversation. I want to make sure I'm sending the right message. Your health and well-being should be the most important, above all.
Thanks, Coach.
Mia, go round up the troops for a special meeting.